All right, we're just gonna. Oh, I forgot I still have my glasses on because I was working. These are my Meta glasses. They're my anti-blue stuff, and I still have this stroke on from before. I'm very. It makes my like the top of my hair look. That's fun. That's good. I like it. This is my. If you got the glow, you need the glow. You need the glow, the glow to grow. It wasn't supposed to actually stay on the. Because it was on IC. So let's go to filters. Now I go to here. Hold on. I'll turn that one off temporarily. Stroke me, stroke me. Oh, stroke. Stroke me, stroke me. Quit. I know what you're thinking. Nope. But that's okay. All right. So, welcome everybody. Glad you could be here. Let me close this out. Hi, chat room. Good to see you. Vince Clortho, Keymaster of Gozer, Volga Silderata, Lord of the Sevilla. No, who is he? I know I'm getting towards 100K. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. If you actually care about the stuff that other progressives pretend to care about, this is the place to be. The greatest live stream in the history of live streams. I'm Hal Sparks, your resident genius. That's true. It is also a Xanadu thing. Yeah. And that I got to tell you, we miss Olivia Newton-John more and more each day, and she was lovely. Yeah, it's just Fortsville. I might need it today. Hold on, my overhead light's on again too, because it's just I was looking at stuff and I got yes, Billy Squire, a man whose career was basically ruined by one video where he tried to be Prince, which a white British guy should never try to do. I try to do it every day, but don't do it by crawling across the floor butt naked, trying to recreate the When Doves Cry bathtub scene. You can't do it. Just don't. Stop it. Now, I do, though, owe Billy Squire, many of you know this, a debt of gratitude, because the first time I saw King's X and Blue Murder live, I saw them opening for Billy Squire, and I loved them so much and really didn't like him. So instead of watching his set, the headliner, I went down and hit on the girl who was working in the coat room at the Vic and dated her for 6 months. So that was a good time. She lived downtown, so it just wasn't going to work long term because there's too much travel and that kind of stuff. We were both still in high school, but it was lovely. It was lovely. Just saying. So, all right. Yes, happy Xanadu Day to everyone. Now we are here in Xanadu. Billy Squire was robbed. The music wasn't bad. That's the problem. It was just literally, death by video. All right, we got a lot to cover today. One of them is right out of the gate. What is effectively the lovelies over at the China show brought this up. And there's a big news story. Maggots are going mad right now because thanks to Governor Newsom of California, Glocks are being redesigned. The standard Glock handgun is being redesigned. Now, everybody's really jumping on the fact that the law says they have to change because the trigger mechanism can be too easily modified by this little trigger mechanism, which I'll show you in a minute, which I've mentioned before, which are just fucked up. That's these things right here. These are these little lock triggers that you can get and made in Austria. No, they aren't. And they're not really Glock. These are fake, and these are sold, they're made in China, and they're dumped into gun-heavy cities on purpose because the Chinese government wants a lot of dead people. Now, here's the thing. The Glock thing, I'll show you a little bit. Like, this is Glock discontinued. This is where the kind of ammo-sexuals are panicking in some ways. And some of them are trying to, paint over it, or there's like this guy who's dealing with it fairly well. He's like, Glock pistols will never be the same. Rip Glock switch, right? And so he's kind of on the fence, it seems. He's just worried that this is the new Glock that's going to come out, the V series, which will not be, you won't be able to modify with one of these switches. Now, let's see, where are the switch? Like, I think I pulled up. Is it over here? I pulled up yeah, here it is. There's a bunch of videos online, for example, like this one. See that little clip on the back of it, that little like hammer piece on the back end of this thing? You can barely see it when he turns it. See that little extra thing on there? Okay. I think he fires it in a second, or maybe he doesn't. He's just showing it off because he's got it. Oh, it's already empty. Maybe that's it. Okay, so let me jump back to here, and I'll show you how one of these actually, yeah, there we go. Like this dude right here. That's the switch. Not made in Austria. Not made by Glock itself. And it turns it into a machine gun. Clearly. I mean, there is no other use for that. That is what you would call an anti-personnel device. That turns your regular old self-defense Glock into an IED that you can point. That's what in a civil society, that's what a machine gun is. It's a pipe bomb you can point at people. Clearly. Okay? So, needless to say, the law they sued and won, and the legislation was passed that you can't sell Glocks can be modified like that. They got to fix their trigger mechanism, and they have agreed to do this, which is kind of shocking. Like, California passed legislation about the redesigning Glocks so they can't be transformed into a fucking machine gun, and Glock said okay. So here's one of these guys reacting to it. I haven't pre-watched this, but if there is ever an ammosexual, it has to be this dude. I don't know who he is. The show is called Tactical Truth.
What happened?
Well, a bunch of people were taking an easily modifiable handgun and turning it into a machine gun and using it to kill lots of people by just spraying into crowds and murdering them. And it's supposed to be a semi-automatic, not an automatic, and therefore they were forced by legislation to keep it within those categories. Otherwise, they would have to license them differently, sell them at a lower rate. You'd have to have a special license to get them, all that kind of stuff. So they decided to change their own design.
Like, what just happened?
I just told you. I literally just told you. And it didn't just happen. It's taken fucking 4 or 5 years.
I was going to drop a video during Glocktober.
Glocktober. That's adorable.
The video was, are Glocks still relevant in 2025?
Well, they are if you've got a beef with somebody in the neighborhood and you want to spray the entire funeral party.
And as I'm recording the video, I get a notification from another gun tuber that I follow, and the title says,
Gun tuber. That's a thing. Okay.
Says, Glock discontinued. So immediately,
you took your heart medication and panicked.
I said clickbait. So I paused my recording to go do a little bit of research. What happened?
I already told you. Just rewind and watch at the beginning.
Guys, if you're new to the channel,
like you are apparently, how can you be surrounded by this many guns and not know this shit was happening?
Welcome in. Here we talk about...
Thank you, Kathleen, for the gifted memberships. Bless you.
Faith, freedom, and firearms.
Yes, because if Jesus came back, he would be armed to the teeth.
We proclaim Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior,
while blasting blindly into crowds of people because they had it coming because of politics or something.
He is the true King of Kings.
Yeah, so much so that he never needed a weapon in his life, and the one person that attacked him, his buddy cut the guy's ear off, and Jesus put it back on. Nothing says turn the other cheek like a fucking like John Wick jizzed all over your desk.
Love this great nation, and we love the Second Amendment.
Even though the love of Jesus Christ and the love of the Second Amendment are mutually exclusive, it would fall into that have no other gods before me.
Welcome. I'm mind blown I was going to make that video not with my Glock fanboy bias opinion, but more with some experience and some facts of some things that I searched on.
Yeah, just search some stuff up. You couldn't just like in a mad scramble. Could you tell which one of those black death machines laying on your fucking desk are or your workspace or whatever the fuck is going on there are an actual Glock? I mean, you probably could be like Glock, 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 Smith and Wesson Glock.
Fine, right? So we can just cut through that really quick. Yes, Glock is still relevant. Well, at least till last night. I sold more 43Xs and Glock 19s at Bass Pro than any other firearm. They would
really, yeah, it's big hunter weapon. A lot of people going out into the wilderness to hunt deer with their Glocks. That big nothing says maybe they're shooting fish. That's why Bass Pro Shop, great place to pick up a handgun.
Literally walk out the store, whether through online sales or over the counter.
Online sales of a Glock. Great. I feel better already.
When I worked at a smaller FFL, we sold more Glocks than anything else. So even with new companies coming out with guns all the time.
Yes, thank God. I mean, sorry, thank Jesus.
Glock still dominates the handgun world globally. Law enforcement, military.
Which is, by the way, why they actually changed the design. Let me put a pin in that for you for a second, because these guys are all reacting that it was the California law, which was definitely part of it. But the biggest reason is what he just said. Glocks are used by law enforcement and they're used by the military. Now, why would enough pressure coming from the California market necessarily for the items sold in the state, which you could buy them in Nevada and just bring them over because you have the license to own them and there's this grandfathering of it and who the fuck knows when you got it, blah, blah, blah. Is that enough to make them change the design on the trigger mechanism? No. There's another reason. I'll show you.
Military, everyday law-abiding citizens.
And some people who are law-abiding until they shoot up their place of work.
The aftermarket world. The largest aftermarket world for any handgun.
Aftermarket is straw sales and gang members and drug dealers and all the people who actually use them to kill people on the regular. As a matter of fact, the people who keep the business afloat because the people that buy them legitimately are afraid of these other fuckers. Right.
Compatibility. Mm-hmm. You can easily source Glock parts anywhere. Magazine.
Yeah, I'm so pissed they closed down Radio Shack. They had the best suppressors.
Magazines are compatible with PCCs, such like the Ruger, the Foxtrot mic, AR9s, 2011s, Staccato HD.
Yeah. Cottage cheese, bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich suppressors, the Super Dildo 9000. You could attach any of these things to a Glock. It's fucking amazing.
What happened?
Oh, God damn it. Rewind.
So they're still relevant, but you discontinue them because of a small group of people.
No, because of a law.
That I call them, and some people know them as YNs. And if you guys don't know what a
YN is, a YN word.
YN is, I'll try to explain it to you the best way possible.
The best way possible, I guess, would be directly, but if you do that, your channel will get shut down, you fucking weirdo.
I'm a Christian.
So I'm going to just use the letters and let you fill in the blanks. I'm going to call them that without calling them that, you know.
I'm going to try my best not to be a bilingual Christian on this one, but this small group of dummies come in all shapes and sizes. A YN is not a color thing. It is.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely a color thing.
It's not a group thing.
It's a group thing by their age group, I suppose.
It is a mindset.
Okay. So this is about thought crime.
And
I think it's about their actions, not necessarily that. And also, the proliferation of these things, you know, basically creating war zones.
They used to come into Bass Pro, and I could tell right away, right?
He still sold to them. Don't get me wrong. He still sold them the guns, you know, because, you know, everybody's money's the same color, right?
So skinny jeans, barely can walk, sagging. And first thing they say is, you guys got Glocks or them Tauruses, G2Cs, G3Cs. My boy said they just like Glocks.
Oh, so it could be just a bunch of like white redneck kids, or maybe it's an Irishman. Maybe it was a Chinese guy who walked in. You know, they come in all shapes and sizes.
No, they're not. But we'll leave that to another video. But they're definitely not Taurus G2s or G3Cs.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
After I'd sell them the handgun.
Right. Okay. Yeah, okay. You know, like literally, like I can spot one of these guys. They're just into it to murder people. They're dangerous. They're criminals and stuff or whatever. I made the sale, but you know,
Because legally I had to.
no, you didn't.
I could have said no, but
Right. So legally, you didn't have to. Stupid.
they passed all the criterias. I used to tell people all the time,
So raise the criterias is what you're
just
saying.
because you can legally purchase a firearm doesn't mean you're not a degenerate or a criminal.
So we're just supposed to trust you, bro?
Just haven't got caught yet. But right after that purchase, I would say, hey guys, can I get you guys some ammo?
Yeah. Do you need it? You got to beef across town. You don't want to have to stop someplace.
Maybe go find a holster. Holster? I'll put that in my pocket. I'll put that in my drawers. And I used to always think in my head, I hope you blow that. I hope you blow that off.
Yeah, like a Christian would. Sure. Yeah. Gun tubers, ladies and gentlemen, they're a special breed.
But most of those guys, that's why I tell you guys, train, carry one in the pipe, because most of these dummies don't even carry one in the pipe. They put them in their pants like that or in their pockets, but they're scared to carry one in the pipe.
Yeah, because they're afraid the other one will go in the pipe, and they don't want the pipe blowing their pipe off. I get it. Maybe a holster and having one in the pipe.
Because they're retarded.
Jesus Christ. I don't know why he doesn't have, he'll just replace all of those guns with crucifixes. I'm just overwhelmed. I feel like I want to dedicate my life to Jesus Christ. I'm so moved.
But to an extent.
Okay. What extent, dummy?
Well, at least some. But because of this group of people, Glock has decided to discontinue some of the most iconic firearms out there. The Glock 45.
Oh, she'll be missed. She really will. Especially with their little flashlight attachment, so you can accidentally shoot your kid coming home late when you told them to be in by 11:30 and you thought they were in the house by 10 and the lights were off and you just saw something moving, and it turned out to be the cat, but they were holding the cat and petting the cat, and you know the light let you burn that image into your brain for the rest of your life.
So if they're discontinuing the Glock 45, you're going to discontinue the Glock 19X.
Well, of course. I mean, yeah, you know, they're kissing cousins.
They're discontinuing the Glock 19.
Yeah, it's so different. You know, I could see. I was like, damn. It's, you know, that one's so much like, it's none more black. Like, the other one was slightly, I just like the kind of squareness of it, the Minecraft aesthetic.
Gen 3s, Gen 4s, and Gen 5s.
And why are they doing that?
They already had got rid of the Glock 17 to try to push the Glock 47.
Oh, yeah, that was just fucking marketing.
I was lucky enough to get me a Glock 17 Gen.
Yeah, totally different. I can see that. Like, especially, I mean, the flashlight's totally different. The tape on the handle is different. Oh, yeah, this is the one.
5. I did send it out to get the slide cut for the optic.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you're not going to just take it stock or whatever.
And that's another thing that I loved about Glock. If you guys played with Legos when you were kids,
Did you ever make a Lego gun and accidentally blow away one of your friends? It's a lot like that.
They remind me of grown man Legos.
I feel much safer. I don't. Chat room, you guys feel safe? You guys are all right? You guys, yeah. I'm just afraid to see his kid's playroom. That's my worry. Holy shit. Anyways, what just happened? All right. What happened?
They start off as black canvases,
And stay that way.
and I can build them to anything that I want. So
As long as they stay black, I guess.
you could have two different sets of Legos. One could have been for a car, one could have been for a plane. But if you were creating
No, not for a plane. No, not actually for a plane, shithead. No. Definitely not. Maybe for a car. And again, I would keep your hands on the wheel when you tell the cop it's stuck between the seat and the stick shift, just for your own safety and theirs, you know. But definitely not the plane.
creative and you know what you were doing, you could probably build a boat. So that's why I love Glock, right? So I don't need it to come
Yeah, I mean, obviously not as much as you love Jesus Christ, but sure. Anyways,
straight out the box with iron
by the way, this is 2 days old. This video. This is from 2 days ago. This guy made this video 2 days ago
sights, tritium sight,
in 2025.
upgraded triggers, slide cuts, comps, all that good stuff. I can do that if I choose to do.
Yeah, dude, I gotta tell you, you sound like you're too afraid to play D&D. I mean, explain to me the difference between this and Barbies, except a Barbie can't kill someone, I suppose. That would be the variance. These are like Barbies that can kill.
That because
Not that, you couldn't weaponize anything. That's a long story.
when I do build my Glocks, I do build them for a certain application or a certain purpose.
Oh yeah, what would that be? Sunday school or fellowship on Wednesdays or Bible study or family night at the Cracker Barrel, or what would that special occasion be? Birthdays, and you got a Christmas gun? Is it green? Does it have lights on it?
But Glock now gives way to other companies by bending over backwards for these lawsuits, right? And to be compliant, I guess, and to
You guess?
try to change it to where these YNs can't turn Glocks into fully automatics with these switches.
Right, which would be a thing, be a good thing, right? That you maybe give a shot, maybe that's okay. If you'd still have all that little, you can still dress them up, you can still have your Malibu party Glock, and you can have your, I don't know, working woman Glock, or you could have the Glock in the pink Corvette.
But that kind of gives way to other companies now being sued and having to bend over backwards for these people who don't take accountability.
Well, yeah, the state is responsible for taking accountability for people who modify a handgun into a machine gun and open fire on a crowd of people in a fucking park.
For themselves and for their actions, right?
Right. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, it's weird that we had to build cells to put prisoners in when they, are rapists and murderers and shit like that, because they just won't walk around in polite society not being assholes. It's weird.
I've never seen a switch personally in person. I've never seen one
Not personally in person?
online, and that's because I don't do degenerate shit, nor am I out there looking for it.
No, you contribute to it. You sold it to the guys who, in your words, are mentally challenged and would make this change. Now, this guy is part of this big panic. Obviously, there's a bunch of these guys. And let me show you. This is what the new one looks like. It's terrible. It just looks so clunky. It looks like it looks like a prop from a movie that's not even good. The V-Series is the newly modified one that's going to come out with all their versions. The G17V, the G19V, like all of their models will be released with this new trigger mechanism on it, so that it cannot be converted into a fucking stutter gun. So it can't be turned into a fucking, where is this? Go back to this one. There's a bunch of this bullshit. Here's a guy just in the park. adorable, right? Notice again. See all those numbers on there? All the ones he was talking about, they've discontinued them. No, they haven't. They're releasing new ones with new trigger mechanisms. Now, what's the other part of this? There was a big story a few years ago. I covered it. I'm pretty sure. I know CSL remembers when we were talking about it. But these the Glocks are standard for law enforcement most of the time, and they released a model that had a hair trigger on it. Let's see. Let's see if I can find a Glock hair trigger. Police lawsuits, maybe something along there. Okay. Yeah. Here's one. This is in 2023. So this applies to kind of what we're talking about, along with the fact that you can modify the trigger into turning it into a machine gun, which is bad enough. A family of a 3-year-old boy who fatally shot himself at a bar home 2 years ago has filed a federal lawsuit against the gun manufacturer Glock for providing a firearm with a hair trigger that could kill children, meaning that it's so light a pull that even a 3-year-old boy could pull the trigger. Now, it should have been locked up. Let's just start there. I don't know what the fuck the problem is. If you're going to collect 9 guns, you can't have a fucking gun safe. You can't have a fucking, they'll spend so much on fucking guns, but they won't get the safe that you can open with your fingerprint. Assholes. Anyways, Peter Bunce, 3 years old, of Saco, Maine, found an unsecured Glock 26 handgun while visiting the home of Rebecca Post at 416 Breckley Hill Road. He shot himself in the head while left unattended with a gun. Gregory Bunce is the boy's father. The person who represented the estate filed a lawsuit in U.S. District Court in Burlington. The boy's mother also filed a lawsuit as a plaintiff individually because they are surprisingly not together. Gregory and Elvin had filed a civil lawsuit last fall naming Post and Post Insurance and Financial because they wanted the money for the insurance, but also they're filing a lawsuit against Glock Incorporated, a Georgia corporation, and Glock GES MBH, an Austrian company, that's the actual parent company, doing business in the United States, are the 2 named defendants in the new wrongful death lawsuit. This is why they're modifying it, not because of that idiot's YN excuse. They're doing this at the same time. This is 2023. They're doing this change at the same time this law came out about the trigger mechanism. It's giving them a reason that literally gave them an out to modify the trigger mechanism on these fucking guns, which, by the way, have resulted in police shootings as well, where cops pulled their guns out or whatever, and it popped like that. They're just holding it. Now, you shouldn't put your finger in the guard before you're about to shoot, but when people are pulling their gun or they're wrestling around or whatever, they've shot themselves, they've shot other people, and it wasn't because they intended to. There were a bunch of these, and there were a bunch of police departments, I think in Texas, there was one in Arizona, I believe, where they had all Glocks and they threw them all out. They literally sent them back to the manufacturer and switched to another firearm with a harder trigger on it because it had happened so frequently. And all the cops were like, this is fucking dangerous. I don't want to ever have to pull my gun, and when I do pull the gun, I only want it to hurt the person I'm aiming at if I really want to. Right. So yeah, Glockenspiel. So what's really happening here is that they're giving this an out, and this guy going what happened? What happened? Let me show you this. This is 3 fucking years ago in Texas.
Devices that can change handguns into illegal machine guns. And in the past 6 months, we know federal investigators say they've seen an explosion of them on the streets of North Texas. So
yeah, and in Chicago, and in Baltimore, and in Los Angeles, and every fucking where. And they come from China. They are, here you go. Check this out. And hat tip to the guys over at the China show. They were talking about the recent law shift. But let me see if I can bring this back to here.
Federal custody after ordering Glock switches from China. Glock switches turn pistols fully automatic. A few weeks ago, the ATF and U.S. Attorney's Office launched Operation Kill Switch to crack down on these types of illegal purchases. Fox 4 Stephen Dial
By the way, this was last year during, I forget who was president last year, but somebody will remind me in the chat.
is in studio. Stephen.
Steve, investigators say the man bought items from China labeled household tools or gloves, but they were packages concealing Glock switches. A federal crackdown on illegal gun parts led.
By the way, that's the 3D printed version of it. They burn out, they fall off, but people are making them that way too. That's harder to control, obviously.
To more arrests in
See the little 3D printer in the corner? Nerd.
separate cases. 20-year-old Joshua Javier Minivar of Rockwall was
Not his hands.
arrested June 20th. Investigators say he bought packages from China containing machine gun conversion devices, known as Glock switches. These illegal modifications turn a handgun into an automatic weapon, firing 30 rounds in less than 3 seconds. 2 weeks ago, the U.S. Attorney's Office and ATF announced Operation Kill Switch. I talked to ATF Special Agent in Charge, Jeffrey Boschek, about the issue in North Texas.
The Dallas area is one of the hot spots throughout the country for these devices.
Shocker.
And it's been that way for quite some time. You know, we're trying to stay ahead of the wave of these things.
Minivar got on investigators' radar back in May when Customs and Border Protection intercepted a package from China at its Cleveland area port.
Which, by the way, was handled by the Chicago field operation guys. And hats off to all my cousins' co-workers at the U.S. Marshals who have to deal with this shit all the time.
The package manifest said it contained hardware accessories and the number 4. Inside were these small plastic items, no bigger than a Lego. Investigators say
There's that Lego thing again. Why is Lego carrying the beef for all this shit?
35 packages were sent to the suspect's Rockwall home, labeled as household tools, protective gloves, clothing, and hats. In June, investigators searched Minivar's garbage can. According to the complaint, agents found a gold.
What a shock. He's got a big gold fake Bitcoin that because he uses Bitcoin and he's showing off that he has Bitcoin and he uses Bitcoin to buy these things because good old crypto, the currency of human traffickers, gun runners, and drug traffickers. Yes, nothing destroys more families than shit bought with Bitcoin.
Coin with a plastic baggie taped to the back. Investigators say the coin was used to conceal the contents from x-ray scans. They also found a switch hidden in a glove. Court documents say Chinese firearm parts vendors are known to conceal Glock switches in legitimate products.
They're being possessed
Because they can't ship them in normal boxes.
by people that have no idea how to control them. And just the danger of them in the hands of novices with machine guns.
The second case is the arrest of 19-year-old Jamarian White. He is charged with possession of a machine gun and is facing a murder charge for the death of an 18-year-old. The shooting happened June 9th on North Masters Drive. Investigators said White's social media showed a post of him holding one of the guns with a Glock switch on it. There's also a music video explaining how the switches work.
Great.
On June 12th, days after the murder, the federal complaint says officers conducted a traffic stop on White and spotted a pistol under his leg with a switch attached. His arrest led to police finding multiple loaded Glocks with switches on them, according to the complaint.
They all have switches now. This is why Glock is one of the 2 reasons Glock modified the this. And by the way, I'm fairly certain they bend the barrels once they've been claimed. Once it's a piece of evidence, like you can replace the barrel if you win your case, they have to give it back to you. You can replace it, but see how the barrels are tilted up.
Fentanyl is the killer drug right now for the DEA, and Glock switches is what's killing people on our streets. And I fear that the continued proliferation of these things is going to lead to a crisis, much like the DEA and local law enforcement is.
Well, God, you know what? Don't worry about it, dude from Dallas, because California has your back. Good old Governor Newsom managed to get a law passed that changed the law so that if they want to sell in California, they have to modify their guns, and they decided to for 2 reasons. Like I said, not entirely because of the switches. No matter how many people want to put that like this dipshit wants to put it on young black dudes. The other part of it is that Glock had a hair trigger and people were getting killed accidentally. It does that naturally. Okay, thank you. I have no interest in owning a Glock, so.